And now our 5 minutes are up, and I welcome Kelly Franklin to speak to us.
Hey, I made it. I am old as dirt, but I am still working with everything in me because I have a goal. And that's why I'm here today. I'm actually a human trafficking survivor from when dinosaurs roamed the earth. And it didn't have to be that way for me. That's why I founded Courage for Freedom, an organization that fights this. I have the privilege to work with survivors, with those that are in sex trade, with police officers, with politicians, with students, with young people, with old as dirt people like me, and everybody in a myriad of industries. And I've just been really honored to be able to do some crazy good stuff. We have swag, those that work with us, those that hang out with us. This is actually a survivor design logo. It's for what we call Project Make Believe. And for anybody that wants, we will send you a Project Make Believe sign so you can take a challenge. And my goal that I need you to help me with is to end the buying and selling of girls and boys, our children, in Canada, and let it start in your community. So I could have done a whole bunch of stuff and given you a whole bunch of slides, but I thought the first thing I do is I'm just going to play a 2-minute video that's hot off the hop. It's got lots of drip. It's done by youth, and it was put out by the London Police just February 22nd. Oh my gosh, my host is laughing. Hope you got a bio break. So if I can share screen. Oh, first, I wanted to ask you, if you're an attendee and you're between 13 and 19 years old, I want you to click the raise hand function. This is really going to help the host to understand who's watching and what's going on. And the second thing is, it also lets you click something because I can't see you on the screen. It's actually for your privacy. So I just raised my hand. Look at me, I'm learning things. Okay, so I'm going to share screen. We're going to watch a 2-minute video that was actually put out by a bunch of youth. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to answer the question about why is this all important? Besides the swag and the gift cards that you're going to get. Okay, there's some more stuff that's important. Okay, hang tight. I'm going to try to screen share. No promises. Oh my gosh, I think we're going to do it. So this is actually my own Twitter account. And we're going to enlarge this and we're going to show you fresh off the hop video. If I can make it big. God bless Zoom. It's spinning. It means my computer's thinking. Whoa. It was thinking a little too hard, and now we're on my calendar and we got booted out. Okay, I'm going to stop screen sharing. What a teaser that was. I'm going to actually send you the link so you can watch it at home. How's that? I also have the link for some other stuff because, you know, I believe that young people are actually smart. You guys should get a lot more credit for thinking and coming up with some of the solutions. How do I know that? Because since 2013, I've had the opportunity to support and work with over 427 minor age victims of human trafficking. And they are the ones that have created the solutions that I talk to some really amazing people, like our police officers, like victim services, and even Honorable Sylvia Jones. She has a really amazing job. She is very important in the justice system, peeps, not just another pretty face. So why is all this important? It's because it's not just happening on a point and click slide. It's not just in our presentation. We're actually talking about people that are your age. So why is this happening? Well, parents need to know that there are vulnerabilities. Now, I know you all think that you belong to the Marvel Comics crew. What else do you belong to? Luna, Lovegood, Hufflepuff, Draco. You like Mother. Oh, and Morgan is a babysitter. Somebody needs a jacket. Oh, sorry, I digress. I was watching your chat. You guys have vulnerabilities. And some of those vulnerabilities you actually were exposing in the chat. You know what I was thinking? What if somebody in that chat was a bot that had creeped in and was doing cringy crap, trying to figure out who you are, looking to see who's dropping an email, looking to see who's dropping a phone number, looking to see who's dropping, I need this, or I've been through that. That is where you guys are trusting that everybody there, without eyeballing them, actually has your best interest at heart. Sorry to say, but they all don't. Even our best friends sometimes don't have our best interest at heart. So I know from everybody I've worked with, there's two worlds for you, okay? There is your world and there's the adult world, and they are very different. And your job is to successfully get from your world to that adult world. It's called assimilation. And legitimately, it doesn't happen until your brain is finished growing. Don't worry, your head's not going to explode. But inside your brain is not going to finish growing till you're between 24 and 26. And that's why you need adults in your life. Now, I know you might have one set of values and a language like cringy and drip, because swag's an old word, by the way, or 100 is a better word than swag now. Sorry, I still use swag. But we don't often use the same language as adults. We're sorry. So can you educate us when you're talking to us as adults? People, I'm not saying trusted, because you don't know if you can trust an adult. There's some adults that need to earn your trust. The responsible adults that are tried and trues, your true blues in your life, can you start teaching us appropriate language so we know how to talk to you? Can you help us to come out of the dinosaur age to the digital age, to understand that we lived in an in-person cycle and now you're first forced to live everything in screens? I just look at all this information that you folks have, right? Pog. Oh, I love it. Do you know Pog was a game we used to play like Pokemon back in the day? Oh my gosh, I'm dating myself. You could Google it. I think it was before we had cars. So one of the things I like to do is when I talk to young people is I like to listen. But today I have the mic, so I get to talk. Sorry, captive audience, kids. Consent. We hear this all the time. So instead of say consent, we sound like we're signing court documents. And if we don't understand what consent is, maybe we will be signing court documents some days. But can we just frame it in our heads? Young, smart people, it just means permission. And so it also means unsolicited. It means you're not asking for this. You didn't go out trolling for it. Did you see my question in the chat? How many of you have been sent a nude that you didn't ask for? Okay, we won't even talk about the you asked for a part, but how many of you at your age or somebody younger or even your little bros or sissies are getting sent pictures of people's body parts? Ooh, yuck. Now, I know that hormones are starting, curiosity is happening. You wonder what things look like outside of like Wikipedia or whatever banana your school teacher puts a condom on, okay? You should still be allowed to be curious and be safe, but you should not be clickbait, and somebody shouldn't be catfishing you. And organizations and places like Garage should not be using campaigns to say send nudes. Do you know, for me, nude means really bad, saggy pantyhose my mother used to wear, not cool clothes. So find a responsible person, not a trusted person, responsible, true blue. Did you know that in all these conversations we had, that there might be somebody around you that's needy? And you know what? Don't be ashamed if it's you. I'm needy. I'm here today because I needed to hang out with you guys because my life is just boring as all get out. What are you needy about? Everybody wants affection. Everybody wants attention, reassurance. Everybody wants a bunch of things. And you know, when we don't get it, okay, Trinity, breathe. When you don't get it, you can actually be distressed. How many of you have been stressed during COVID? Okay, sorry, can't see if you put the hands up, but our host will. All of us, which puts all of us at risk. But there are demographics, different sections of people that hang together or share common traits that are more at risk. And so when you look at your friend crews, when you're at school, when you're in the community, when you're in a group, when you're on a sports team, whatever you're doing out there, can you look and see if there's somebody from LGBTQ plus community, somebody from Indigenous community, somebody from foster community, somebody whose parents don't speak English language and might be first or second generation immigrant communities? I'm not telling you to out them. I'm telling you that you can help support them. Because one of the reasons they're the highest demographic in human trafficking is because historically, we've done a crap job of supporting them. But you're the next generation and you can change that and make the playing field more level. You can actually be the eyes and ears for your friends and your community. It's not a snitch or a telly-ting. It's actually a highly intelligent person that notices crap that's not right and has the chutzpah to actually speak up. And you've heard where to speak up and when. So you've heard the words probably grooming, luring, recruiting. Are you guys starting to feel like it's the old Charlie Brown thing? Wah, 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 wah. But what does it really mean? Grooming to me is when my horses bite each other to try to tell each other to itch. It's also when I brush my hair in the morning and brush my teeth. That's not what we're talking about. What we're actually talking about is somebody that's going to try to entice you. That's tempting you. It's to encourage, but it's also to try to overcome your resistance or your friend's resistance. Wear them down. And if you see somebody being worn down, you can speak up for them. So speaking for you and your friends, I'll share a couple little stories. The first one is, anybody gone on a diet? Okay, besides me. Don't have to put your hand up. Anybody changed their hair? Did you notice that the people that live closest to you probably didn't notice anything? I hadn't seen some people for like 3 months and I rocked up and I'd lost 35 pounds and they're like, holy smack, look at you. That's exactly who you can be. Sometimes your friends are not going to know what's actually happening in their life. They're not going to feel they can share it. They feel isolated and alone, like nobody is going through the same crap as them. And those are the lies their mind tell them. And we have to help our friends to tell their minds, shut up, shut up, shut up. The truth is, there are actually people out there that care, that will stand with us. So somebody outside of me noticed how I changed. You can notice how your friends and your peers change. I don't think it's our responsibility to make kids responsible to protect themselves from criminals, but we can give you the information so you can help protect your peers. Because out of the 427 young people I've worked with, every single one of them had heard recruit, groom, lure, had heard human trafficking, be safe, wah, 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 wah. But in real time, remember, your brains aren't fully formed yet. You need some help. It's also why you need a responsible adult in your life. If you can't talk to your parents, find that other responsible adult. There might be reasons that you can't talk to your parents. The other responsible adult might help you to have those conversations that don't shame this and understand that this is not a human trafficker. It's just a device. So we're able to have conversations about devices, and we're able to talk about risks and how we feel about certain things that we see or experience on this. Oh, look, my phone lit up. You remember when you were really little and you didn't know how to cross the road? Hopefully your parents just didn't go, here's the manual on it to keep yourself safe crossing the highway. 401, here we go. Bam. Go ahead, 6-year-old, cross that road. Nope. They had to give you instructions. They held your hand. They walked you through it. And then you convinced their parents that you could do it. And they watched you while you did it. And so that's one of the reasons. I'm not saying adults should be all up in your grill if you have a grill. Most of you don't have a car or a grill. But you should find somebody you can trust to help you figure out how to get as a person from who you are now into that assimilated adult with at least amount of damage possible. For me, being trafficked, you can look up about Kelly Tallon and see at 14 that hanging out with her, she was murdered. I'm left with those scars. I don't want you to have those scars, or any of your friends or anybody anywhere to carry those scars and responsibility that I didn't know how to help her. I didn't know how to help myself. Now I know. I listen to survivors. I hear what they're telling me. I have a big fat mouth that's not quiet. And I go forward and I help police to know what to do, and I help governments, and I help their families and anybody that'll listen until we change this. Because you know what, at 16, choices should not be young people sell and commodify their bodies because it's their right. What is wrong with our heads? What's next? I sell my kidney, my eyeballs, just because I can commodify myself? No, you should have more choices. You guys should have more opportunities. We need to give you the supports that you need. So you're crossing the road now. You have opportunity to watch your friends cross the road and see if they're safe. Have you ever had a bad idea? Don't put your hands up again. You know, every single adult that is responsible and you respect, they've also made some crap choices. We're not perfect. But if you'll allow us the privilege to journey together with you, we will learn from you and you will learn from us, not to step in those deep, dark potholes while you're crossing the road, so that you are not only safer. Because, you know, I know when I talk safety, all of you turn your head off like I'm the crossing guard. I don't want you just safe. I want you empowered. Because when you're empowered, no matter what you're facing, you will self-direct your life to make your decisions, challenge your friends, and change the future for the next generation. You actually could be the generation to end the buying and selling of children in the nation of Canada. And if you want that challenge, they're going to drop my email address. And this is the only way I will connect with you. I will send you some swag. I will send you a sign, and I will send you encouragement to take wherever you are, whoever you are, to whoever will listen to you. My email is office, OFFICE, at courageforfreedom.org. My personal cell phone to text that is confidential is 519-870-2292. If you want to work together and be part of the solution to do this across the nation, I need to hear from you. In the meantime, I'm going to finish out with 2 stories that I have permission to tell, because these young people actually wrote in our book, Courage for Freedom. The first one I'm going to talk about actually is from Down Your Way in Your Community. And for anonymity, we'll call her Olivia. She was 12 years old and came from a really good home. And she wasn't prepared to stand up to what a criminal would eventually do to recruit and lure, as we've heard today. I'm not going to revisit how that happens. Through a comedy of errors and misunderstandings, somebody got access to this girl and would just take her away from school for an hour or two. So even her family didn't know she was missing. She was taught to lie. All the things we heard about threats, they happened to her. And what happened eventually is she got pulled in deeper and deeper. And believe me, they took almost 2 years to do this. And after 2 years, she was so brainwashed because she had needs and they'd worn down her resistance. She didn't have anybody noticing what was happening with the ability to call a hotline, to talk to a responsible adult. And she was trafficked full on. She was sent around the province in what we call the corridor. And it's not just across the 401. You need to know that all the little towns and hamlets, and if you live in the suburbs, that's the feeder fish community, because those that are traffickers, that are pimps and madams, or call themselves boyfriends or girlfriends or couples, your mom and pop or your daddy or your business manager, they have access to you through social media. And believe me, they're criminals, and they're going to find a way to get a hook into you, to hear what's important to you, to hear what you need to hear from them. And then they're going to take the time to manipulate you and pull you as far away as possible from anybody that could potentially stop you from being exploited by them. So at 13 and a half, this young girl was finally identified and found again. But by this time, she was in a bad condition. And so she got help. And she actually went to court and put 3 traffickers in jail. The problem was, by the time they got to court, they'd already done a lot of time served. And within, I think, 3 to 4 months, they were back out on the street again after 18 months at a trial. And so she sat at home trying to heal. Everybody tried to get her all the help that she could get. But nobody knew the silent suffering for not only her, but think about this, people. You know, we've come a long way in mental health. Young people are talking about their anxiety. They're talking about being bipolar. They're talking about all kinds of things, and then celebrating on socials by going to goat yoga. But we're not hearing from those that are survivors of human trafficking and sexual exploitation. Woohoo, 8 weeks since I was bought and sold for sex. That's why we have to pay attention, and we have to speak for them, taking what they teach us and amplifying it out into community as truth. Because when we do this, we serve notice to our communities. First of all, let's ask the question, kids, who's buying teenagers? Stop. They're not for sale. Second, it's not just about the pimps, because if they didn't have anybody to sell them to, there'd be no market. The store would be closed. So we also have to have conversations with you guys about your involvement in egregious pornography and what you're watching online and what it's teaching you about intimacy and relationships. Is it? Kim from Nova Vita talked about this. I love that 3-color slide. It gave you every question you should ask if you're in relationship with anybody. And you deserve answers to that. This girl did, but she didn't have those tools. That's why you have to share these tools. We have to have these conversations. Otherwise, you're complicit. If you're quiet, you're part of the problem. If we're not asking the adults in our life, Are you watching violent porn? Stop it. Now, be careful asking that question. But you also don't want to become, remember I said your kids assimilating into adults? So if you're starting that now and you're stuck, and believe me, it's very addictive, as bad as drugs and alcohol and other addictions. If you're addicted to that porn and it's driving your life, how are you just going to stop that point blank as an adult? And how is that driving the industry that kids are being bought or sold? I want you guys to be responsible to one another, that you're not slut shaming or boy shaming each other or gender shaming each other, that those jokes are not funny because they actually create the environment to normalize things like human trafficking, sexual exploitation, catcalling women, slut shaming, criticizing, gender shaming. All of that stuff just tries to get your brain to normalize this crap so you won't stand up for people's human, child, and protection rights, better known as empowerment. This young girl, we did get a hold of her. We did therapy with her with our horses for 2 years. We got her repositioned. She got trafficked again. They scooped her and picked her up. Now, snatch and grab is 1%. Please don't talk about the big white van unless there's a big white van and it's not Liam Neeson driving through from his Taken movie. Okay? Know the truth. It's not about all your friends in a shipping container. It's not about it happening to another culture. It's happening to all cultures. There's a big trend right now in your community that it's happening to a lot from the Punjab, Sikh, and Muslim communities because their families, their parents that don't speak the language aren't getting the information that you're getting. So share this with your friends. Share it with all cultures, all ethnicities, all religions, all persons, young, old, I don't care. Share it and start talking about it to end the stigma. So after this girl was pulled in the second time, she decided that she couldn't listen to anybody protecting her. And so she tried to kill herself with meth. And she was found face down, asphyxiating in her own puke after ODing. And thank God she was found. We worked with her. It took 4 years. And she wrote a chapter in our book because being trafficked 12 to 16, how do you explain that at school? We relocated her. She had a really good opportunity, but I had to get her an English language credit. So we wrote a book. Now she became a #1 best-selling author in the process, but she's now finishing up post-secondary education and she wants to do something about this. I can tell you stories of girls that have been taken out of province. They didn't think it would happen. They thought it was their choice. They thought they could strip and make a little money. They thought he was nice until the very first date they went on at a party. He took them to a hotel room and then when they refused to work, they pistol whipped them. And he sat in the room next door to them. Well, he forced them to work and they became so ashamed and traumatized, they couldn't tell anybody. The shame should be on the trafficker and the buyer who's buying a child. I don't call it child trafficking. It's actually rape. Because you know what? Nobody under 18 can actually consent to commercialized sex acts under the law. You should know that. Anybody tells you, I'm going to go do this, it's against the law. You cannot sell your body as a young person in a commercialized sex act. That is to protect you till your brain's fully formed. You know how to cross the street, speak up for everybody else, and change stuff in your nation. Because one day you're going to be old as dirt, and I'm going to need somebody in my seat that's going to speak up for those survivors that can't. Please reach out to us and be part of the solution. please take everything that was spoken today and understand these are not stories. We are not Netflix. This is not Kanye with this new Netflix. This is lived experiences that I've been through. 427 women and girls that I worked with have been through. Countless others. For the murdered and missing Indigenous women's circles, I sit with the grannies and the elders of the Anishinaabe community on Manitoulin, and I say, Miigwech, we love young people. You are the solution. I'm done.
Thank you so much, Ken. Oh my goodness. My mind is blown right now.
I thought I'm not doing slides.
You're amazing, Kelly. Anyway.